You see what I'm saying? So now the language, now how in the hell can the white boy start a language, you see what I'm saying, in Greece when he couldn't even speak coming out of the caves? Well, it took him almost 100 years just to compile an English language. 100 years ago, they had Old English, and it didn't even sound the same as it does now. So how in the devil can he come up overnight and develop a language like Greek? Come to find out that all your scholars, Plato, Aristotle, and all of those were black people that went to the doggone mystery system. Your Parthenon was built by black people. Your Roman government, the first part of Rome and all of the buildings and all of the actual setup of Rome was black people. Then just like you have in America, you had white people that came in and took it over. You see? Now you got Count Boney's account that said that the white man had to be taught how to speak. Coming out of the cave, so how in the devil can he do some Greece? You see what I'm saying? Start Greece. So now we're going to give the Greek ones because these are black people. You see? Now, so we're going to leave this list here because you need to start pouring libations. You see what I'm saying? Now, there's not a lot of people because, see, we get into the technicality of it. Because when you don't deal with the spiritual world, it's got to be a technicality of what you do into the physical. So there's no, remember now, there's people in here, and there's another dimension where the people that you think are dead are waiting on you because that's life and this is actually death. So the people that you think are gone, your people that died, if they haven't reincarnated, they're sitting here with you. And when you pull these particular, you conjure up these particular invocations or the libations, you bring them back, and that's the force to help you. You see what I'm saying? That's the force that helps you. Now, the key to the whole thing is this. You need to start learning how to do these things within the last days. This is the stuff that can protect you. You pour your libations, you step outside, you go everywhere you want to go, you won't get shot, you won't get killed, and you won't get anything. Well, it's not a matter of protecting yourself from black people, but in the next couple of months, you might have to protect yourself from white people on a small scale. But I'm here to tell you today that they really don't have no juice. When we really get into what we're dealing with here today, they don't have no juice. And I'll tell you what I mean, because they're running scared, because they're dealing with me, and they're doing some things, and they're running scared. So now, some people say you got to get plants and all this with the plant. Look, get you a plant, and make sure you don't drown out your plant. You first libate the plant, because, see, I believe in pouring a good deal of libations. So the first thing I do, I'll say, Awas. We'll get into that particular deity in a few minutes. Then I go Ashe, and I libate my plant. Now we're going to go into, and you go Ashe. So, Awas. Ashe. Okay, now, we'll get this bucket right here. We're getting ready to get down here. And I'm going to call out some gods. And I'm going to call out some gods. And what's that?
When we have sisters that come in...
That's right. You know the deal, brothers. Any sister come in and ain't got no seat, unask the chairs. That's right. That's right. So if we see a sister coming up, you all get up out them chairs and let the sister sit down. You see what I'm saying? Or we'll put the Billy Bat Club on you. You see? Unask the chairs. See what I'm saying? First of all, you will understand, you're going to say, I don't see how in the devil that brother there can be a holy man. Well, let me tell you something. 99% of what you think is holy, which you come to your preachers, that's because a white man set the doggone standard for that clown to be holy, and he ain't holy worth a doggone. You see what I'm saying? Because once you really get into the really spirituality, 99% of what you think is holy is not. That's called spiritual ceremony, and it has nothing to do with the real spirituality whatsoever. You see? 98% of the churches talk against the real spirituality, because if Jesus or whatever ever came back, they'd run from it. Because number one, it won't be no white man. Check. All right. So let's deal with this. Okay now. Okay, let me deal with some gods. Oh yeah, I want to call out these Enochian deities. Because last week we did the Enochian deities, and boy, they really cut up. And then we'll call out some Necronomicon deities. And it was interesting because I called out the Necronomicon deities, and because I got the sister that can see, they came into the radio station that night when I gave it over the radio. They was very happy to use their name because these names had not been uttered for the last, let's say, 3, 4, 5,000 years. Okay. So now if this stuff sounds messed up, I say I don't really agree with that because I don't know about it. But remember, if it sounds strange, that means you're learning something. Because if it's something you know, don't need to be here, right? If If you're not open for any additional information, wasn't no need in coming in the first place. Check. Yeah. That's the problem, like I said, that the preacher get over on you in the first place. If you go amen, that means he ain't teaching you nothing. And that's the problem with our people. They have been teaching you what you wanted to hear and not what you really needed to hear because they didn't know what you really needed to hear. That's called the art of public speaking. Tell a person what they want to hear and say nothing well. You can say nothing if you can say it well. That's emotionalism. You see, I went through 8 years of that in college where we had these public speakers come up. You see what I'm saying? Cornbread eating Negroes. And they'd come up and they would come into some stuff and they would be talking all this good stuff and people, yeah. But everybody's ignorant. You see what I'm saying? So also, too, it's not necessarily say you got to bear witness with what I'm dealing with. That's the African right to be wrong. And if everybody agreeing on the same thing, somebody wrong. You see? Check? Check. All right, then. So we need to get out of the public speaking as far as a person saying things well, saying nothing well, and playing on your emotion. 98% of the time when the preacher is hollering in the church, you can't understand what he's saying in the first place. But he's steady hollering and stuff, right? But you saying and you start crying and stuff because he's appealing to your emotion. Well, if you go to the Michael Jackson concert, they do the same doggone thing. You see what I'm saying? It's the same thing. That's emotion. They play on your emotion. They say when Elvis used to shake his behind, white girls would pull out their fingernails and didn't know that they pulled their fingernails out until the next morning. You see? So that's getting your emotion up to a certain level, and you thinking that's spiritual, that's emotionalism. You see? Check. That means that the man can come up and tell you Mickey Mouse is God. If he say it right, oh, Mickey Mouse, you might do the same thing. Check. You see? I say. Okay, now, let's call out some gods. Let me get these, I'm going to give a few of these Nukian deities. We'll explain what this is in a few minutes. The particular text that we are giving out now is text that the Moors went up in Spain and left at the University of Salamanca and the 16 other universities. And the white boys recovered the Nukian text about 200-300 years ago. About 200 years ago. And then after that, your Necronomicon text, they recovered those texts in 1977. And after that, you had Son of Sam and all kind of crazy stuff started going on. So we'll tell you all about that. So right now, you don't need to be spooked out about nothing. Because you live in hell right now, and if you ain't scared of this white man, you ain't no sense in being scared of some devil that don't exist. Check. You really don't believe in God. The only reason why you go to church is because you scared of going to hell. Otherwise, you would not be bothered with that on Sunday. That's basically the way it is right now. Because I can go to the average Christian, and the Christian will have hard times. And I can tell him to really deal with the spirit. And he said, I can't see the spirit. And I really can't take that face value. You see what I'm saying? Check. Let's do this. All right, let's give a few Enochian deities, and then we'll go to the Necronomicon deities. And it's good to do this for the simple fact when we pull these deities, what happens is the spirit come in the room, and then we can get past a couple of hours, which you thinking is 2 hours. And you say, man, I've been here 5 hours. So let's put everybody under the spell. Now, for you people that's into the moralistic way of dealing with things, they say God is everywhere. So when we call out these different gods, it's not talking about different gods. It's talking about the different attributes of the one God, or the God one. Allah has 99 attributes. The Christians say God is everywhere. Well, in Egypt and in the ancient religions, they understood that the God had different components, and when you put them together like a puzzle, it represented the one God and the God one. Check. And at this particular time, I think everybody here should be adult enough to know that there's, I don't care what religion you talk about, there's no God different than the other God. It's all talking about the same gods. Check. All right, then. Okay, let's deal with this. Ol, Ashe, Sanuk, Ashe, Borg, Ashe, Gogo, Ashe, Iyad, Ashe, Bald, Ashe, Launch, Ashe, Kaz, Ashe, Vanpo, Ashe, Saraba, Ashe, Zal, Ashe, Ra, Ashe, I, Ashe, Ta, Ashe, Naseb, Ashe, Od, Ashe, Gra, Ashe, Ta, Ashe, Malgab, Ashe, Das, Ashe, holo, Ashe. Okay, few more. And we can get down to business. All right, ka, Ashe, natha, Ashe, zimaz, Ashe, od, Ashe, kama, Ashe, ta, Ashe, nabla, Ashe, zana, Ashe, saba, Ashe, til, Ashe, nanap, Ashe, frog, Ashe, aldi, Ashe, das, Ashe, urubs, Ashe, boha, Ashe, gramas, Ashe, kasam, Ashe, osharala, Ashe, koba, Ashe, pa, Ashe, nanbab, Ashe, kab, Ashe, ad, Ashe, zuram, Ashe, od, Ashe, zama, Ashe, adna, Ashe. Okay, next one now I'm going to go. Azathos, Ashe, Yosathos, Ashe, Nilahetep, Ashe, Hasta, Ashe, Sutulu, Ashe, Subnigaroth, Ashe. Okay, few more. Let's deal with this. Osa, Ashe, Aset, Ashe, Ra, Ashe, Patah, Ashe, Sekmet, Ashe, Sashet, Ashe, Seket, Ashe, Anpu, Ashe, Tahuti, Ashe, Mayat, Ashe, Mat, Ashe, Sut, Ashe, Sutnesi, Ashe, Sutnubit, Ashe, Typhon, Ashe, Tayamat, Ashe, Hetheru, Ashe, Aset, Ashe, Raherukahuti, Ashe, Harpocrat, Ashe, Kether, Ashe, Shakma, Ashe, Bina, Ashe, Chesed, Ashe, Tippereth, Ashe, Natsad, Ashe, Had, Ashe, Yasad, Ashe, Malkuth, Ashe, Brahman, Ashe, Vishnu, Ashe, Bravini, Ashe, Kali, Ashe, Shakti, Ashe, Shiva, Ashe, Indasuda, Ashe, Sita, Ashe, Hanuman, Ashe, Lakshmi, Ashe, Jinsia, Ashe, Dambawalawedo, Ashe, Maraka, Ashe, Bridget, Ashe, Adam Gwadi, Ashe, Ogu Farelli, Ashe, Ogu Shango, Ashe, Urzuli, Ashe, Legba, Ashe, Edowedo, Ashe, Zaka, Ashe, Alapi, Ashe, Abatala, Ashe, Adudawa, Ashe, Arunla, Ashe, Ogun, Ashe, Shango, Ashe, Oshun, Ashe, Elegba, Ashe, Iminja, Ashe, Arisha Oku, Ashe, Oya, Ashe, Gaya, Ashe, Awas, Ashe, Muewas, Ashe, Thunderdog, Ashe, Patanata Unra, Ashe, Layla, Ashe, Allah, Ashe. A few more, let's see. A few more. Ashe, come on, give me some gods, come on. Melchizedek, Ashe, Metatron, Ashe, Medura Atan, Ashe, Atan, Ashe, Adani, Ashe. Ashe. Come on with it. Ashe. Ashe, I already did the Yoruba. Let's get a few more water. Okay. Ashe. Okay, let's see. I think we got enough right now for that particular part. Okay, now what we're going to deal with this time, to all gods known and unknown. Ashe. Okay, now, like I say before, I call out 3 of my family members. Well, I'm going to call out Carol Lorraine Meadows. Ashe. Let's see, Irene Shaw. Ashe, Raymond Shaw. Ashe, Mabel D. Ford. Ashe, Ali Hemmett Sr. Ashe, Grandmother Hemmett. Ashe, Ali Hemmett Jr. Ashe, to all my family members. Ashe. Now, let's do this. I'm going to count them 1, 2, 3 and start calling out your family members. 1, 2, 3. Ashe. 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 To all gods known and unknown. Ashe. To all ancestors known and unknown. Ashe. Okay. All right. Let's get through this again. I feel it's fair to start with this every time we open up, because if you don't learn nothing, you need to know this within the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. You ain't got a year. Believe it. Okay? Let's deal with this. Psalms, you can write it down now. I always tell people to write these down. If you got a pencil, write these down. Next time somebody step to you and say that you crazy, you show them this right in the Holy Bible. Why we say the Holy Bible? Because we know the Quran and we know the rest of them. But remember now, North America, before we was Muslims, we was Christians, right? So if you're going to get your people, you're going to have to go right through that book. Check? All right, so we put the Bible in the face. Okay, let me know when y'all ready. Oh, that's popping off. Now, good. Okay, let me put this on. I guess I'll clip it the right way, because see, what happens with these is, these must be some good kind, because when I pour those libations and that aura comes up, it just knocked these out. When I was up in New York and every place I go out, like in Detroit, New York, Philadelphia, these things just blink out. But it's an arrow thing, so we're going to see if it works here in the home front of Atlanta. Now, and God standeth, this is Psalms 82, verse 1. And God standeth on the congregation of the mighty, and he judges among the gods. Well, I thought there was supposed to be no gods before him. But he's judging among the gods. Check? Okay, it explains in the next chapter. John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36. John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36, and Psalms 82, verse 1 to 6. John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36, and Psalms 82, verse 1 to 6. And Jesus answered.
This is your dog. He needs a walk while you're at work today. That's where WAG comes in. WAG lets you book a dog walker whenever you
Answered unto them, is it not written in your law that I say that you are gods? And he called them gods, for whom the word of God came, and the scriptures cannot be broken, says him. For whom the Father has sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest. Because I have said I am the Son of God. Now, if you're not clear on that one, the next one, Romans chapter 8, 14, 16, and 17 will clear that up. Romans chapter 8, verse 14, 16, and 17 will clear it all up. As many is led by the Spirit, they are the sons of God. And if there is witness with our spirit, then we are the children of God. And if the children, then heirs. And if heirs, then joint heirs with the Christ. Now, it says that you are the heirs of God. Well, if you're the heir and that's your father, which has a mother, we'll get into that later. It ain't just the father. If you are the heirs, that means that you are the direct descendants of the royal bloodline of your father. As above, so below. And if you are heirs, you are joint heirs with the Christ, which means that the Christ didn't have nothing in him or nothing about him that you didn't have in you. It's just that he is the Christ figure and the example to be like. That's when he says, be ye perfect as I am. Now, there can't be two perfects. Perfect means perfect. And perfect means an exact duplication from what he is. Well, if you are lesser than Jesus Christ, which is just one of the Christs, they used to pump out Christ every day in the ancient world. Christ was not just one person. If you were supposed to be perfect like Jesus Christ, that means that you have the science to be duplicate of what he is. You see what I'm saying? This is the whole deal on everything we're dealing with now is becoming gods. You see? He said, just as I have done great works, greater works ye shall do. Right? Now, the other chapter is, there's another one, Psalms chapter 8, verse 3 to 6. And for some people, I don't know how many people found this Moroni. I think it's in some of the other biblical texts because, you know, the King James Version ain't the only Bible. So there's several, I think this is in one of the lost books, Moroni chapter 10, verse 4 to 5, if you can find it. So now, that's the key on what's going down, becoming gods. Now, like I said before, I talk on what is called esoteric teachings of the occult, which only mean that which is hidden from you for the last 140 years or 180 years since the cracker translated hieroglyphics of Medunetta. You see? So now don't compare me with the rest of the people because those are historians. And they are actually, even though they're saying that's our story, that's actually his story. Because our story goes back millions of years. And you don't have none of them accounting for that. But now we have uncovered the actual stuff that just throws all chronology that you have been teaching, be ASCAC or whatever. It throws that out the door when the doggone Sphinx that sit in the middle of the earth is now 80,000 years old. Now, if the Sphinx is 80,000 years old, somebody had to build it, and it wasn't no doggone ape man. Now, there ain't no text out here that say that you come from apes, but yet Asa Hilliard, yet Charles Finch, and also Ivan Van Sertima say you came from ape people. Check. That's nothing but a family of different types of apes that was on the world, but you live concurrently with them, as well as the dinosaurs or whatever. You see, there's different accounts of these particular things all around the world. You predate all that because you came straight from the Godhead on where all sacred texts say you came from. mainly the star system Sirius, the ones that will be coming back soon and going to be coming back right up out of you to kill this cracker. Straight up. Now, for the people that's still thinking that everybody, remember, people keep saying, well, listen, verify your text on where you say the white man is the devil. Right? Or what we would call a biological mutation. Well, hell, you can look at him and tell you a biological mutation. See what I'm saying? No developmental, no lip, no behind, none of that. Now, but for all you scholars out here, now you can challenge me on this because I put out a book and I had so much documents coming from the ancient world on where the white man was the doggone biological mutation that I had to stop printing this stuff. It started coming so much. Now, in scholar, I want to get on this white man thing first. You see, we got to lock you into this thing. You see. Now, in scholarship, you have theory until you have the archaeological or anthropological evidence to prove that the theory is either right or wrong. Right? Now, the archaeological and anthropological evidence is at the temple of Seti I in Egypt and at the tomb of Biblium El Manuk, which is the tomb of Ramesses V, where on the temple walls they tell you that the white boy, which was the Tamahu, Tama which means created, and Hu which means white, which is the lighter part of another Hu that means black, but Tamahu which means the created white people. It goes at the bottom of the temple and says what? That the Nessi, which is an ancient black man, and the Ruti, which is an ancient black man, created the Tamahu. You see? Now, that particular temple of Seti I was a whole complete temple in the late 1800s. And they never show any pictures of that particular temple. By the time we got another temple of that particular temple, we got another picture in 1989. They had completely torn down the temple and removed the bas-reliefs. But you can find the actual information on that in Diop's book, African Origins of Civilization, Myth and Reality. Go and look in the particular part about the Tamahu. Just look in the index and read up on the Tamahu. Also, you can find the passage that I just quoted from you in Gerald Massey's book, Book of the Beginning, Volume 1, page 27. There are pictures in Dr. Ben's book from Giza to Abu Simbel where they show you the Temple of Seti I. I have pictures of the Temple of Seti I with these bas-reliefs came out of, and I have the actual pictures, and it's two different temples from the late 1800s to the late 1800s to 1989 when they showed the new pictures. They completely tore it down and built it back again. Now, he's a biological mutation. We have so much evidence on that that we don't have to get into the white boy being a biological mutation. We can just act on the man's actions alone. You see, now, I guess this is a town meeting. Let's get to some hard copy first. What we call the Afrocentric hard copy. Check? All right. Okay. The sister came last week and told me that they had already started picking up the black people in the projects down here. Well, let me explain. Got some other information. She said it was a group of people from FEMA that rolled up. You can raise your hand back there. And you can get a little more detailed information from her of what their account was. And I'll tell you what we have gotten in the last week. It was a group of people that rolled up on the projects. What homes was it? Techwood. Okay, Techwood. You know they got to wipe them out first because they got that whole Olympic thing going on, and they don't want them Negroes around that new village. You see what I'm saying? Like I say, they built 2 doggone football fields for the Negroes in the AU Center, but the white people got dormitories. Knowing everybody, no, we need more dormitories than anything. Now, they roll up on the people in Techwood, she said, and started cleaning. How many was it that they picked up? Lost track. Well, see, that's a lot of brothers. And they roll up on and say, one brother tried to get away, jumped on the MARTA bus and all this type of thing, and ended up not being able to drive it, right? He was trying to drive it, right? And jumped out the window, which she said, and got cut all up, and they got him too. And she said at the same time, she had the reports of the same thing happened in California, doing it at the same precise time. Now, we do know in 92, with the first uprising, that they arrested 10,000 black men, and only 1,000 of them came out. of jail. You see what I'm saying? Now, they said they had reported trucks going upstate, California, and they said when they asked questions, they said, oh, we're just trying to train some black people how to work for the workforce. All right. Now, we do know that they have the concentration camps all over the place. Now, we got other reports that a train, and I have to keep saying this, the last 4 or 5 lectures, a train derailed in 1991. And on that train that derailed in 1991, they found a train full of shackles. And they're saying that was just one boxcar. They don't know how many got through. You see? And that was in 1991. Now, 2 weeks ago, one of my friends was working down in Valdosta, Georgia, was unloading trains. And during the break, they was messing around and they ran up on a train that was full of shackles. Well, some of you pessimistic people will say, well, hey, that's just for the prison system. But these shackles was made into the trains. See what I'm saying? That's like that slave ship thing, but we do know they used the whole railroad thing to transport black people, the Japanese, and put them in the concentration camps in World War II. You know, go look at your movie Geronimo, because they used the trains to transport them from the west to Florida. Now, supposedly they have concentration camps that's set up in Oregon, some of the main centers. And these particular concentration camps, based on your King Alfred plan, which is the Rex 84 edition that Ronald Reagan revised, they have them set up mainly in Oregon, but they got them set up throughout the entire United States. Now, we know that 1979, Jimmy Carter refurbished so many concentration camps that they locked the Japanese up in World War II. In 1989, George Bush closed down 5 Army bases. And in 1993, the man that you voted on, the white Jesus Christ, Bill Clinton, closed down another 5 Army bases. So that's over 20. So now, and last week, they started closing down another one. And last week, we think between the time of last week, they closed down 10 more Army bases. So they got enough Army bases to incarcerate you. And if you've been watching the TV, Senator Graham, the one that was running for president in Florida, in Texas, what did he say? They asked him about crime. He said, if we got to strap barbed wire on every concentration camp, we're going to lock these niggas down. You see what I'm saying? Now we got reports all of a sudden of this thing happening with the brothers in the projects. Now, under the House of Representative Bill 79, the House of Representative Bill 79, they have a special task force. And that particular special task force hit the projects in Chicago and the whole South Side, so many mile radius, and they started locking down people, and they locked down the whole projects. And they found out they was checking ID cards, and if you didn't live in that area, let's say you were just visiting your cousin, you got locked up. And that is the federal law that they can confiscate your home and put it up for market. Now, you know about the House of Representatives 666 bill, HP 666, which they're going to, I think they already got it in. They're supposed to voted on it about a week ago, where they can come in and break in your house without a search warrant. Huh? They voted it out 17 minutes. So that mean they didn't vote for it? They voted in. Okay, they voted it in, so that means they voted it in. The HP 666 bill that is under, the person who was lobbying this was the same person named Bill Pullman. No, let me get this right name. Bill Coleman. Bill Coleman, who was, in actuality, the same person who wrote the new crime bill. You see? He wrote the new crime bill, and that particular person that voted this particular thing in, so now they can break in your house. Well, hell, they was breaking in Negroes' houses anyway without a doggone search warrant. So now what you can think they're doing when it's legal, right? Now that leads us to the Freaknik. Because the Freaknik, because we just was riding down and we heard a brother on the radio, he was telling about all the zones and stuff on the radio, but he was doing all this joking and stuff. You see, even though he was doing all this comedy stuff, so you can't, when you for warfare, you can't be doing joking, because even though the brother was serious bringing this information, the people take it light when you joking about these things. So, you know, he started using the comedian style to say this stuff, and the whole deal was, even though he was serious, there's a certain time you got to cut out bull jive. It's time to roll. You see? Now, that particular, he said that they got all this stuff locked down. Now, we do know now, based on Steve Coakley that came, 2 weeks ago, that said that the Negro Boule, which everybody should know your Negro Boule, them your Negroes, that's the advisors to the king, Sigma Pi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and I thought I brought the Boule list with me, the one for Atlanta. But if not, I'll give it to Sister Afriquita. She'll get it on the radio. And I don't think I brought it with me. But anyway, he went to the Boule Convention last summer, and Vernon Jordan, who was the keynote speaker, was saying in his keynote speech that they're supposed to stop the Freaknik. So everybody thinking it's Bill Campbell. Now everybody thinking if Vernon Jordan and the Boule, and the Negro Boule, only thing they do is carry out the wishes of the white man. So if you know Vernon Jordan is who? The right-hand man to doggone Bill Clinton. You know, every time Bill Clinton on the boat, he got to take a token nigger with him, and the next thing he on the boat smiling too. So he's the right-hand man, and which is actually a tragedy because he grew up right there in the Fair Street bottom. Now here's a brother grew up in the projects, you see, and loved the white man worse than the white man, better than the white man loves himself. See what I'm saying? So we know if he was the one that was going to the Boule to set the standard of what they was going to tell the mayor in Atlanta to stop the Freaknik, we know that the actual Freaknik came down, the orders came down from the White House. Now, why did the orders come down from the White House? Because for those particular people that have heard my shows, we talk about the African tribe, the Dogon, in Africa, that did this sacred dance, and that particular sacred dance that they do is supposed to get you out of your mess that you in. Everybody was waiting for this sacred dance. Well, the same time that they was doing the sacred dance in Africa, on April the 23rd, 1994, the black people was partying down. The Spirit made sure that the black people was partying down in Atlanta because that's the western and the eastern horizon. So it scared the devil out the doggone white boy, and the white boy had to stop this thing. But they're using it now to lock down black people. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to do the first rush on the Freaknik. Because they're going to let you know, despite all your doggone education and you think the white man loves you, that they're going to crack your doggone college students and your children in the head to let you know that this cracker saying we don't give a damn, a nigger is a nigger is a nigger is a nigger. And you better start learning this stuff right now. If you think that cracker love you, you understand what I'm saying? Okay now, just remember, he already did it before, so many thousands of times. So now, let's deal with some other things. First of all, I want to say a few things that's going down that you didn't understand. Back in 1991, the Atlanta Braves. Now, first of all, let me say this. Now, how can Bill Campbell go to Washington, D.C. a month ago and say that they're losing money because the Braves are not playing in town? And because of the Braves not playing, they're losing millions of dollars. And because Atlanta was so stupid to give up their star basketball player, he was big enough started the Boston Celtics to say, we got to have him. Dominique Wilkins, until now, they have what they call it, they don't have anybody. These seats are not even being sold in the Omni. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, they got whole sections that's closed down. So as far as the sports is concerned, the reason why he traveled, he said, we at least got to get the Braves going on. And all these mayors traveled, they said, because they supposed to have been losing money. Now, how in the devil are you supposed to be losing money, and you're going to turn down $22 million in 2 days in Atlanta, 3 days in Atlanta? That don't make no sense. Not unless that he's being run by the man. Now, you got to understand these particular Negroes, because remember now, Bill Campbell, the people who put him in that worked on his campaign was the college students. You see, but ultimately, you know that Bill Campbell ain't got no power. His job just like yours. You see, he ain't got no power. He got a boss just like Bill Clinton got a boss. Bill Clinton got about as much power as you. You see what I'm saying? So ultimately, we understand it didn't make a difference if the black people put him in. He understood he got to do what the cracker tells him to do. Check. All right now. So now, we're dealing with, also with the Atlanta Braves. Remember about back in 91. The Indians, I'm going to show you the power that we got now. The white boy cycle is out now. And he's actually pulling a wolf ticket on you. Now, remember the Indians came to them in 91 and told them to stop the tomahawk chop. And they didn't stop it, and as a matter of fact, They never was able to win a championship, not because they lost. They was beating everybody the whole season. You see what I'm saying? There was nobody could beat them. But they got all the way to the champion, didn't even make it the last time, and what happened? They lost. That's because the Indians put the doggone mojo on their behind. That means that, you see? Oh, that let you know, Cracker, in this day, in the spiritual warfare, when we say we run the show and your time is up, you understand? You can't come with no bull jive when we tell you what to do. And it's fast, and when you learn these particular things and learn and start having faith in yourself, Cracker ain't got no more control over you. See what I'm saying? He don't run the show. His time is up. Right, now, they're dealing with these lukewarm Negroes. Now, the book you need to get, for you serious study, you need to buy a book called A Beginner's Guide to Revelations. For you that don't know, the revelation that you talking about supposed to come already started. It's been here since doggone August. Last August. We are right in the middle of this thing, and all you got to do is turn on your TV. Anytime it snows in Egypt. Now, do you know Egypt is a desert, and they ain't never had snow at all. You understand what I'm saying? And about a month ago, it snowed in Egypt. And snow is rain if it don't stick. But it snow stuck enough to kill about 6 people. Now, that's you understand the damn, excuse the expression, the equator. It snowed on the equator. Because the Spirit is saying all what is not. In the book of Revelation, they say, I behold, the 6th seal will open and what? A great earthquake will appear. Well, it couldn't have been the one in 1989 in San Francisco. That wasn't big enough. And stuff killed a few people on the highway or whatever. You see? And it sure wasn't the one last year. But you know, if you have seen this earthquake, you know that this thing was a miraculous earthquake. And if they say there's 6,000 died, you can count another 6,000. Because hell, they ain't even dug up the buildings yet. You see what I'm saying? So how do they know? And I mean, the thing was demolished. So now we're right in the middle. So this book is Beginner's Guide to Revelation by Robin Robertson. Check. Because you're going to find out that the revelation did not come from the Christian writers. It's an older book. And everything that you think is not. And that's what we're going to deal with today. Okay, now, we want to get to one part in here where they talk about the lukewarm people. And you know the lukewarm people. If it's any time for you to really get serious about getting into some real deal consciousness or doing the black thing, you know how some black people, oh, we want to do the black thing on the weekend. Now, you're a black person, black in 150 midnights, but you can only be black when you go to a doggone conscious show. See what I'm saying? No, you better be black, and I mean really seriously understand what's going on. So we're dealing with the lukewarm people. Now it says, when this is the battle in which reality is not a battle at all, because the forces have long since been lost. That's called talking about the white boy. You see what I'm saying? They say they don't even exist. They have merely been allowed a short period of time to rule over you. See? And their time is up now. And after the battle is over, with the Christ forces, well, who are the Christ forces? Is it not written in your law that ye are gods, and every one of you can rise to Christ? Christ is not just one person. There's thousands of Christ. You see what I'm saying? And we don't even want to get into that type stuff because we know, I think you're supposed to know this fool now. Even your Bible say that. The kingdom of heaven is within. The Christ forces, of course, are triumphant. That's you. We'll deal with that in a few minutes. Now, the beast and his false prophet, there's 2 beasts in the book of Revelation. The one beast is the beast on top of the ground, the false prophet. And the other beast is the beast 666, which is in you that we're going to break down today. So, okay, see? You want to get into some knowledge, but we don't know if you can take it. Check. Don't worry, you ain't going to hell, because you live in hell. And like I say, if the hell with a man with a red pitchfork running around with some tights on, that's got to be a resort area. And the damn boiling water got to doggone be a jacuzzi. But with the hell that you've been catching, check. And like Carly said, you bring that devil with the red pitchfork, with the red tights and the pitchfork on top of the ground, and I guarantee our devil will run him back up under the ground. You see, the white man has surpassed anything that's ever been written in mythology about a devil. You see what I'm saying? So when we write his history, we got to have an Encyclopedia Britannica just to explain all the stuff he has done, because he has broke all laws of God. Check. All right. It says that the false prophet and those that are cast alive into a burning fire of brimstone. They're not dealing with no place of no heaven. The fire is within you. That's your kundalini, your spine, and that's how you're going to fight him, with the powers that's inside of you. That's why he got to lock you down, because he know when the sun rises, you're going to rise. Check. All you can see, the beautiful part about this, I know it's going to sound crazy, but the problem about this is all you got to do, we in the hour of witness bearing. So you can say, well, that nigga crazy, but it don't make a difference. You're going to bear witness to this thing true. I mean, in a few weeks, a few months. But the good part about it is, all black people going to make this thing. You see what I'm saying? You don't know the joys and the riches that's coming down the pipes for you, because you done suffered enough. You see what I'm saying? And you God's people. You got to understand that. Check. Now, it says that the false prophet knows, here's the point I want to say. Boom, I want to get to the particular part. It says, in other words, are like most of us. They're talking about the doggone lukewarm people, like most of us. Just ignoring the world around us, not taking sides, and not getting involved. Just taking care of their own needs. You understand what I'm saying? Your own needs, because the false prophet got you hooked. You steady studying about that foolishness he put in them all. And in actuality, the only thing you need is a house over your head and some food in your stomach. But you into the false prophet stuff where you got to have all that stuff that the cracker put in them all. And it's an insanity. I was in Linux the other day, and I saw some nice stuff, and immediately I started saying, man, I got to get some money. And I say, wait a minute, hold on. That's the spell. That's the spell. When you go in there, you see that's the spell. He who loves this world will surely lose it. And he who hates this world will inherit the kingdom of heaven. Right? You see what I'm saying? Now, all right, now you know the deal. Y'all brothers, get up off them chairs when the sisters come in, because the sisters are gods. Now, what the deal is this. The whole lukewarm thing is you are in a spell, and you got to get out this particular spell. Now, let me tell you the deal on this, the reason why you think, because I got a friend that said he wanted to start speaking on the New World Order, but he went to seminary, and now he's like the assistant pastor of a church, and already he having problems. They don't want to hear it. You see, the white churches, they speaking on this every day. White churches, they dealing with the New World, they dealing with the thing, and you turn on the radio, they talking about it. Black churches ain't talking about nothing. Going to heaven. When I get to heaven, I'm going to put on my shoes and walk all over God's heaven. Why is this? And why is it that the major churches are coming down on the brother? That is because the major churches are under what is called the tax exempt law. Now, what's that law? See something, 50136. C6. 501c3, ain't it? It says 501c3, which is the tax exempt. All your black churches and your black colleges, all started by the Freedmen's Bureau, you see, at the same time, to give you a false sense of you gotta get, I want to die and I want to see the Lord and all this kind of thing here, and everybody, and we shall overcome. To give you this foolishness, because they can control how far you go with what religion that they done messed up of yours and gave back to you, and what education they gave back to you, and you done had 140 years of both the black church and black colleges, and yes, you in the worst shape. You see what I'm saying? Now, the key to that is because them being under the tax exempt law, the major churches, your AME churches, and your United Methodists, which would be your two big black churches, they cannot open the door, not unless you see an American flag with a gold strip down the side. That American flag and the gold strip down the side is the Illuminati flag, which means that these churches are owned, operated, and controlled by the white man. You see? And if anything that is not politically and religiously correct based on the white man's standard, they can come in and shut the place down. See what I'm saying? The black churches, the black college is the same thing, the tax exempt law. So therefore, what's that? Oh, shoot. The tax exempt law. That means in actuality, what that means is, my voice carries, you can catch it. Now, you ain't got to worry about that. Okay, straight up. It's straight. Now, that means that the black colleges are under the same law, just being run by the Illuminati. See what I'm saying? Now, on the other hand, do you know Even some of them Prince Hall Masons don't know this. Don't you know that Prince Hall Masonry, who is in accord with the church, got to sign a petition by the government every year that they don't bear arms against the government? You see what I'm saying? You see? Now, we know these particular things because, are you a 33rd degree Mason? 32nd degree Mason. Tell me, does black Masonry, because you're a Prince Hall, do you know anything, do the brothers in Prince Hall, you're 33rd degree, you can tell us, do they know anything about the ancient mystery system?
They have absolutely no.
They have, did you say, I want to say that again?
As a matter of fact, when I go to the lodge and begin to drop, they want to run me out of there.
Right. So don't front, because we all Mason. We get a distress sign, your grip. You can get Ian Morgan's book, Freemasonry Exposed, for $6 and learn all the stuff. That ain't nothing but a doggone social club, drinking liquor and driving cabs and singing Negro spirituals in the church, and it ain't got nothing to do with no doggone real Masonry whatsoever. And I'll say, anybody in here Masonry, if you want to step to me, I'll challenge anybody up in here right now to say that the doggone Masonry smooth ass of Prince Hall and them know anything about the real knowledge of the mystery system. And as a matter of fact, I got a real Masonry book right here, 2 of them. And I'll pay you $100 and you can read 1 page in here and tell me what the 1 page means. So don't front and tell all these people that's lying stuff that 2 million Prince Hall Masons. If 2 million black men knew that kind of knowledge, we'd have been out of this stuff years ago. So don't start lying.
Talk to me.
You see, they don't know nothing. But I got a light and let it shine. And a few grips and passwords. And if you was really a doggone Mason, the white Masons got doggone women in their Mason. Annie Besant, 33rd degree Mason. You see what I'm saying? Over 100 years ago. Blavatsky, 33rd degree Mason. They got women in the Masonry. If you really was down, you'd put the women in the Masonry. And I ain't talking about no Eastern Star either. All on that, the Masons, the black Masons is no more than the AKAs and the Deltas or the doggone Buffalo Lodge, the doggone Flintstones. Now, you're going to find out in the last days that the main people that you go and worship in these churches, they're going to be the main one holding you down because the doggone churches are being run by the white boys. Every time a cracker want to get elected, you let the crackers up in your church. That is because the churches, now remember now, these same churches are the one that sold you out all the years ago. They didn't even have a black census until all the Negro preachers got together with the NAACP, who is also run by the Jew Spengard brothers, who started it. The Jews started the NAACP. They got together and turned in all the names of black citizens. That's how they got black people on the census with these Negro preachers. Check. Now, this is the reason why when things go down, you saying my minister ain't saying it. Well, first of all, your minister is ignorant. Number 2, if he does have any kind of knowledge, he ain't going to share it and all because they can step to him and close down his church. Check. All right, now. Let's deal with some things. Okay. There's a black scholar conspiracy with your ASCAC and all of them. Because ASCAC was taken over by the Boule, and not the Boule, but the New World Order in 1989. That's why they stepped to Steve Copeland and told him he needed to stop talking about the Boule in 92. That's because now the charter member of ASCAC, doggone Asa Hilliard, is a part of the Boule. You see what I'm saying? Joined in April of 93. So the whole ASCAC and the whole the black what you call your black Afrocentric movement is run by the white boys. Check. It's run by the white boys, and when I go in deeper in this thing, you're gonna find out how it is. So all national major organizations are being run by the white man. If you incorporate it, the white man got something to do with it. You see what I'm saying? Check. Now, we want to deal, you know, Newt Gingrich is the one behind putting all your people in the orphanages and all that there, cutting out your lunch programs and your affirmative action. Now, you know, doggone well, they cut out affirmative action if the white man don't hire you now. What the hell you think he going to hire you when he ain't got a law to hire you? Let's be sensible here. And then they got Negroes lobbying because those Negroes are getting paid by the white man. You understand what I'm saying? I want to give you another thing that's on the way right now. Now, you all don't get scared because I'm telling you all this stuff of destruction because I'm getting ready to set you up on what we're getting ready to do. You can bear witness to this. Now, I want to give you one piece here on something that just opened up in Florida. I hope I brought it. Y'all bear with me. This just opened up in Florida this past week. No, well, they came out with it this week. And it is called, some island, Death Island, or what's that? What? Devil's Island. It's called Devil's Island. And it's in the Everglades of Florida. Now, this Devil Island is a concentration camp that they just opened up for black people. It's in the Everglades. It is run with no electricity, no heat, no air conditioning, and no doctors. In the Everglades with alligator, snakes, and doggone mosquitoes. Now, if you get sick in this particular prison camp, you got to work up at least $3. You got to work up at least $3 to go to the doctor, and they got to fly a doctor in. What's that?
My brother's incarcerated, and he's in Florida. So if you have money in your account, before you could get medical attention, but now if you have any money in your account per the governor, Lawton Childs, you got to pay $3 to see a doctor, and he'll get to you when he can.
That's right. Well, in this Everglades, it's the same thing. You got to pay $3, and then you got to work the $3 out, so that if it's 10 cents or 20 cents a day, it might take a doggone week to get to a doctor. You understand what I'm saying? If your alligator bites your leg off, you just SOL. You see what I'm saying? And that's, boy, we're in a hell of a mess. But don't worry about it. Now, you got Newt Gingrich. Now, when I get deep into the lecture, you're going to find out that all these New World Order books, in the 1970s, if you had to write New World Order books in order to not get killed by the government, you had to write them in novels. And that's when Robert Anton Wilson wrote the Illuminati Chronicles, him and Robert Shee. Now, Newt Gingrich is now putting out a brand new book that everybody been talking about. This particular book is a science fiction book. Now, remember, they used to write them in novels and science fiction novels. So now he's putting out a book, and all the stuff that they're going to do to black people is in the book, and it's in a novel. You see what I'm saying? So that's the way they do it to decode it, but in actuality, white people get in and they start reading it. You just think it's a novel. Now, the book is called 1945, right? 1945. Now, on the book, it's got a picture of Hitler, got a picture of the American flag, burning up with bullet holes in it, and it got a picture of an airplane crashing into the ground. Now, there's a code in this, 1945. Take the numbers 1 through 9. Take the 6 out, because the 6 is nothing but 9 upside down. So when I get into the B666, that's actually 999. That's the code. Now you take the 6 out, what other number between 1 and 8 that resembles the 9? The 4. If you close the 4 in, it resembles the 9. So 1945 is actually 1995. Plus 4 and 5 equals 9. So the stuff that's going to occur is going to occur in 1995, but he's not going to release the book until August after they so-called supposed to have you off the planet. Check. All right. Remember that, because now he already said that they had 100 days to establish their new plan for America. They asked him why wasn't he running for president. He said, because I got we got the revolution going, and we only need 2 key members for the revolution. You see? What revolution when everybody talking about nonpartisan? They went on the State of the Nation and what? Bill Clinton said what? We got a covenant, nonpartisan. You see? 12 times he said this. So what revolution if it's not the Republican revolution? Because there's no such thing between Democrat and Republican, never was. You see what I'm saying? That's just to divide you up. So if it's not that, what is the revolution? Well, you got the man Bo Grice and all your skinheads saying race war in 95. Everybody's saying that. And they're planning the race war through the O.J. Simpson trial. You see what I'm saying? They're planning it through the O.J. Simpson trial. And you know this for the simple fact that, isn't it funny that the O.J. Simpson trial, now Curtis Rower killed this woman, Sarah Tokars, in 1992. And admitted that he did it shortly after. So why in the devil you going to wait till you do the actual death penalty trial during the same time as the O.J. Simpson trial? Everybody must know that you must look and analyze everything. Because everything is everything. Not everybody. You need to be clear on that. Everybody ain't everybody. You see what I'm saying? Now, they released the 2 movies, Bad Company with Larry Fishburne screwing a white woman in the thing. You see what I'm saying? And look, this movie was a classic, Basic Instinct, a classic, what's the other movie he did? Fatal Attraction and Disclosure. Michael Douglas make a career off these kind of movies. Larry Fishburne did it and had a better movie than Disclosure, and they hated it because he had a graphic sex scene. You know, they didn't have the clothes off. But what they was doing and what he was doing with this white woman that happened to be blonde in the movie, that's all set up for this O.J. thing, but white people didn't like it, and they pulled it whether after about 2 or 3 weeks. But the key is she's a blonde woman. You understand what I'm saying? Now, Blair Underwood gets on TV and argues that please don't take this movie, that is the movie Just Cause, and think that we have anything to do with the O.J. trial. But in the movie, at the end of the movie, Blair Underwood ends up being guilty. And not only does he end up being guilty, everything he's trying to kill in there is from 2 blonde little girls and a blonde woman. All that set up. Now they got the movie Candyman coming out. Why is all this stuff coming out at the same time? You see, what is she? She's a blonde woman. You see what I'm saying? All that is coming on at the same time. Now this Curtis Roy trial. Sarah Tokars was what? A blonde woman. You see, it's not a matter of whether this is a coincidence. It's a matter when they decide to put it in and try these cases or put these movies on right in the midst of that same trial. You understand what I'm saying? You see? That's all a part of the race war. Now, Tom Brokaw came and said that he has been into the actual, he said, I have been through Watergate, Tiananmen Square, the Berlin Wall, and the fall of communism. We ain't never seen nothing as big as this. You see? Now, all that is a part to start the actual race war. And the combination of that is going to be a whole lot of stuff that's going to go down with this Freaknik thing. Check, right? But don't get scared, because remember, it's a wolf ticket because you're the one that's in charge. And when you remember that, you see, you go to church and you done heard it a million years. If God be for you, who could be against you? But is it not written in your law that you are God's? John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36. You understand? So let's deal with this. Now, Minister Louis Farrakhan supposed to have had the Million Man March in March, right? But black people started sending in money from all over the country to support the march. And he decided to back this thing up back to October to get the full flow of that money coming in. See what I'm saying? Because he got them big-time restaurants and all this stuff. Now, the Crocker training in the woods. Paramilitary, teaching the people how to kill, and he building doggone restaurants. All right. Now, remember, like I told you before, we got a doggone Mormon. Cracker was a Mormon, work at U.S. Customs right out the airport, and the Mormon said we compile the data just like the doggone Jews do on everybody that is in the actual Trilateral Commission and all that. He's saying your brother Farrakhan name is on it. Deal with it. You see what I'm saying? Hey, let's deal with it. Also, too, we know something going around when you don't even go to, your brother Khaled get shot down and you don't even go to the hospital to visit them. Then now all the brothers in the nation trying to kill Khaled, calling him a hypocrite. That's 1965 all over again. You understand what I'm saying? Then it all started because Miss Shabazz ran her doggone mouth to the New York Times and said what? Said that she believed that Farrakhan was in on killing Malcolm. And when she did that, she gave the actual government a chance to sneak in and plot the destruction of Farrakhan. See what I'm saying? Then the next thing you know, they set up the daughter. You know they had a damn dossier on all the black children when they grow up. They knew who they was hanging with in the 3rd grade and all that. You see? But anytime they plant that thing, you best believe somebody getting ready to get taken out. Just like they planted the seeds with Bill Clinton, because you know Al Gore is the real president that wrote a book on the New World Order and said that Africa was finished. Yes. See what I'm saying? And based on that, Al Gore is the real president, because remember he ran in 1988 and he couldn't get elected. I'm still doing the hard copy thing before I get into the real deal juice. You still got to loosen you up with the current events. I can't just be jumping in outer space and stuff. You see, you say that nigga crazy. And I'm really taking things because I see we got a lot of new faces up in here today too. So this is initiation for the new brothers and sisters that's coming in. Now, all of a sudden, well, now what was I talking about? Al Gore was president. I'll be going faster than my own self. Now, the first thing you know is they set the stage to kill Bill Clinton because he ain't nothing but a yes man no way. You see, that's all he is in the first place. A man that got a full head of hair that gave you a version of a 1962 Camelot with Kennedy. You see? And a wife that don't look, even though she's an ugly cracker too, but she don't look like damn Barbara Bush, who looked like George Washington. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said before, like I said before, they set the stage to take him out by running the planes into the building. The White House, he just so happened to be across the street because they fixing the air condition. Man, they shooting people shooting all around the White House. So they set the stage for murder, so when they really do it, you go, okay, yeah, they was trying to kill him before. And this is how they set things up. Remember, the cracker lies all the time, not some of the time. And those who watch the news with a conscious mind because the news is straight up lies. You see what I'm saying? Straight up lies. So they set the stage, but they put a movie out to show you of the killing of Bill Clinton called Dave. You see what I'm saying? Even though they actually put another person in his place. But remember now, for those people that don't know, they already got cloning. Now the white boys already told me that Bill Clinton was a clone. For those people that think this is some crazy stuff. But remember now, they had a cure for each disease in 1940 something. They kill you with vibration and crystals. And they've also had a doggone microscope that can magnify every cell in your body so they know what they can do. You see what I'm saying? Ain't it funny if a president... They don't want him to die, he don't die. So how in the devil can Bill Clinton mama get sick and die? Because Bill Clinton mama knew that was not her son because he didn't know basic questions from high school. So the next thing you know, they shot the cancer in her because you're dealing with a real deal beast here. You see what I'm saying? Now, go see the movie Dave because it's all about the assassination of that Bill Mitchell, Bill Clinton. Man with a head full of hair. You understand? Check. All right now. 2 weeks ago, Day One came on about a disease called Ebola Zaire. Cooked up in Fort Detrick, Maryland, same place they created the AIDS virus. Right? Yep. Ebola Zaire, cooked up in Fort Detrick, Maryland, and also connected with the CDC in Atlanta. They said that they had killed a couple of thousand people in Africa with this Ebola Zaire. But yet the monkey got out of the cage in Fort Detrick, Maryland, and no white people died. But yet they came right in doggone Newsweek 1970, 89 and told you that they got ethnic disease that can kill whatever ethnic race they want to do. Right? Okay? Now, to let you know the cracker is bold, Cracker put out a movie, and if anybody, if you want to see something, go see this 4-star movie, Outbreak. And when they put out the movie is dealing with Ebola Zaire with a monkey that get out. You see what I'm saying? And a monkey that gets out. They do everything. They put it in the movies before they make the move. But I'm going to tell you another reason why they're doing these things in a few minutes. Now, another thing that has been a conspiracy is what is messing you up is the reason why you can't have your relationships going is this whole notion of love and romance, which is based off of physical attraction and based on pure insanity. You see what I'm saying? The love and romance that you are used to having, oh, you might get that when you first meet a person, you know, all flare up, you be all crazy and all that kind of stuff. That's the initial stage. But the way they got this whole love thing with all the songs and stuff, you got a false notion of what love is. So therefore, once you get out of that first infatuation, you're ready to divorce somebody. Because the love thing is a part of the conspiracy too. You see, based on this is a commercial society, and they sell this whole love romance idea wholesale. You see what I'm saying? When you really look in the particular thing, hey, just like they say in Africa, if you hang around a dog long enough, you learn to love it. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad scenario, but a good scenario, but what I'm also saying is this. The actual psychological way of what you think love is all a part of the reason why your relationships can't get a certain way. You understand what I'm saying? Because you will listen to all these songs on the radio, and I think with V103, it could be 12 o'clock in the daytime. And they got all this love stuff going on. The reason why they say it because they took a poll, and because the mate system is going so doggone haywire where you don't even have no mates with a black woman, they took a poll, and she wants to hear a lot of this particular song because in actuality that's a fantasy land. So you living out this doggone song with Babyface and all the people and all. And psychologically, when you do get with somebody, if it don't go according to what you think is love based on the soap operas and based on these romance books, then you understand why you can't get with a black man. Now, whole lot of stuff going down. Now, let me explain some things that's dealing with before we get into some real juice. I told you before. Now, you got to listen real closely to what I'm getting ready to tell you. I told you before that in the 1970s, when they talked about all this particular stuff, you had to put it in novels because the government would come in and kill you, right? Okay? You had to put this stuff in novels because the government would come in and kill you. Now, all of a sudden, about 5 years ago, up to now, you got over 40-something books talking about the New World Order. Now, let me explain what's going on. It's simple. John Henry Clark tells you a time when the Roman Empire was so bad they had killed so many people in the world until they developed this reputation. So the people, they was weak for about 100 years, and the people didn't know it because they had this reputation of being this mighty force. You understand? And so the people say, you just don't mess with the Roman Empire. But they said it was a group of vandals out of Europe that didn't know about the Roman high-priced prostitutes that'll go for any dollar. And that's the key to the whole thing. All we want is the money. And in the last days, they say the false prophet will have a spell over you. He got the spell over you because you busy trying to get paid. You see what I'm saying? So the first thing a brother asked me, I asked the brother this back in 1988. I said, don't the people have a right to be happy? You know, talking about these niggas up here in college. The brother said, no, we ain't got a right to be happy. Who the hell told you had the right to be happy when your brothers and sisters is rotting over there in the projects? Long as every brother and sister is there and all of you ain't free from this stuff, none of us got a right to be happy till all of us. See what I'm saying? You have no right to say that you are satisfied with America when you know the same brothers and sisters that some of you went to high school with who was not privileged enough to make it with you. You understand what I'm saying? It's catching hell from the man right now. You see what I'm saying? Check. Now, he came back and he found this Stella, and he found out that this particular person that said on the Stella that the same man that said he's Uncle Nakansu is Osiris, the black god that was supposed to return. Ashutulu. Soot. We'll go into the deep in a few minutes. We're going to go deeper into this stuff that's getting ready to come back and kill this cracker, point blank. Now, what happened was, the reason why it skipped the white man up to this day is because the person who found the tablet, once he found the tablet, he went back home and he got it translated into hieroglyphic, and he went and did a ritual. And when he invoked the ritual in his hotel room in 1904, a tall black man appeared. He said he seemed to be a man, a tall black man in his 30s, with the face of an African king. His dress was not Arab, but suggested Assyria. I took note of it, because at that time, AWAS, A-I-W-A-S-S, was not only an angel that I have seen in visions, but he was my holy guardian angel, and he was the god and the devil of Holy Summer. Now, don't get spooked out. But he was the epiphany head of AA, of the AA. AA translates silver star, the star system of Sirius, or what is called the great white brotherhood, not white people, because the only people that can be in this brotherhood can only be the people that have the crown chakra. And in order to have the crown chakra, you got to have the black dot on the inside. You see what I'm saying? So this particular black man that he got by setting up this ritual, who is the same man that you see there under the name of Ankh Nakhonsu, and earlier name Osiris, he came as Awas. And when he came as Awas, he gave him a book. He gave him this book called the Book of Law, which is the second version of the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead, or the book of coming forth by day, is a book that is the oldest book in the world. You see what I'm saying? 10,000 years in the written word and another 600,000 years in the spoken word. That predates your Bible. It's got the same Christ story, the 147 negative confessions or admonitions to Mayat that Moses borrowed 10 of them from and gave you the 10 commandments. The same Christ story, who is Heru, his later form is Osiris. It's the same Christ story, same resurrection, the same mother, the same everything you got in your Bible, which is a carbon copy, which is the oldest book in the world, the Book of Coming Forth by Day, or the Book of the Dead. Now that book you can get this particular book, because this is the best authentic print type, is the Book of the Dead and the Mysteries of Amenta by Gerald Massey. Remember I told you that you went into the Revelation period, and that's called the Amenta period. That's called hell. You in hell now. But there's a deeper part of hell when you come out of hell. That's the deepest part of the cave. That's like Hell Week. You know. Now, the Book of the Dead by Gerald Massey. This is the one that you want, that is the best, because the Book of the Dead by E. Wallace Budge only translated hieroglyphics he could not understand. But this particular person had a person with him when he went into the British Museum. A black woman appeared in the spirit by the black woman, the goddess Sekhmet. She appeared as a black woman, and she told him, number one, that even though he looked white, he was a member of a Druid ancestor that came from ancient black Druids that built Stonehenge, so he was black. But even though he looked white enough to enter the British Museum, she told him to write down what he saw when he went in there, because most of the Egyptologists was not going to be writing down what they saw. And after he died in 1907, the white man made sure that they locked down most of the papyrus that actually got the stuff on when you were gods. And they only give you the stuff when you fell. Now, this particular book, the Book of Law, is the second version, which they tell you that the Quran is the last prophet of Allah. This is the last prophet of God that came in 1904. The white man knew about this book and held on to it for 90 years. But they say that there'll be a time in the book of Revelation that say there will appear a man in heaven that will have a book that no one can understand.